Okay, we're recording.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to this week's leadership class. And wow, I've got a lot I want to talk to you about this morning. But before we get started, what I'd like to do, I want us to get into a rhythm. I want us to get into a rhythm of sharing takeaways. That's what I think that's a component to leadership training that makes it so unique and makes it so special, that as leaders, we get to talk and reinforce what we're learning. So let's just open it up, and I'd love to hear from those of you that want to share. How about a takeaway from last week's class? What was something you heard that was impactful, that you put into practice, that you hadn't thought about before, that you remembered? I mean, again, this interaction allows us to customize the class. So ladies, let's hear from a few of you, please.
I'll start.
Okay, good morning. Hi, Terry.
How are you guys?
Okay.
It really resonated with me when you said, I am not looking to motivate people, but I am looking for motivated people. And for me, at least, when at this point in my journey, it's easy for me to fall in the trap of managing and trying to motivate my team and that kind of thing. And without a doubt, I think that's a little piece of it. Well, a piece of it. But when I focus on more about who am I going to be recruiting, who am I looking out for that is motivated, instead of relying on me to motivate them. And I think as leaders, at least for me, I can fall into the trap of, oh, I love being the cheerleader. I love wanting to motivate them. Matter of fact, it kind of makes you feel needed. And I think there's a piece of us that wants to be needed. And yet that's a slippery slope to fall into. And so that just really made me look through a different color of lens of glasses since we've met last. It really has made me focus more on who am I really reaching out to that is already motivated.
This is so good, Terry, and it's such a good thing to learn this time of your career. People fall into managing for a lot of reasons. You named some of the more common ones. Yeah, we like to cheerlead. We like to feel needed. And, psychologically, I could boil it down to, it's just easier. Although as leaders, we don't think of that. It's just easier. Hey, I could go, it's easier for me to call Susie Q, who doesn't care, who doesn't want to work, who doesn't even want to talk to me. That's easier than going out and doing the things necessary to find those new people, those new excited people. So the longer we manage, the greater the odds we're going to plateau if we're lucky, but probably go backwards. And it's just something that as leaders, we constantly want to be top of mind. Am I managing? Because we can't allow it to happen. Yeah, really good, Terry. Excellent. All right, somebody else. Takeaway from last week.
All right, I have one.
Yes, ma'am. Hi, Claire.
Hi. So here's something that really just, struck a chord with me. Lots of things last week, but one thing specifically was, and you spoke about this for a bit, about staying even emotionally. Mm-hmm. And that is something that I put into practice this week on a couple of different occasions. Because I think, when you have a group of women and a lot of them are your friends and then things happen and, it's really easy to hop on that emotional roller coaster.
Isn't it, though? I also find, I don't know about you, Claire, but because we go so fast, like once I come into my office, like after I've meditated, done my reading, once I come in here, man, it is bam, full speed ahead. As long as I'm working, I go at a very fast pace. So when things happen unexpected, because we're at such a pace, it's easier to like, and this is why the awareness of staying even, at least for me, even if I'm going 100 miles a minute, I could step back and go, okay,
yeah,
breathe. How do I want to respond to this? And it's so important, especially like you say, a bunch of women, friends, and even strangers become friends, mm-hmm. right? And they're going to do things, say things that are going to trigger us in all sorts of different ways. And so I applaud you. And it's a practice. It will serve you well. And again, not only emotionally, how do we want to respond? But I think it really helps us define the type of leader we want to be. right? So the woman you want to be, the leader you want to be. You'll find this not only in your Plexus business, but in life in general, with your kids, with your friends, with your husband, with your mom. I mean, things will happen and we can go, how do I want to show up for this particular situation? It's really helped me a lot because I was always very reactive.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really good. Well done. Well done. See, it's powerful stuff. The mindset is really powerful. And I believe impacts us more than anything. So one more. How about another takeaway? This is all good. I love hearing how we're putting it into practice. And it's, again, like anything else, it's that awareness that starts the whole journey. Yeah.
I have one. Oh.
Yes, Jen. Who's this?
Francesca, you can go. Okay.
Hi, Jen.
Hey, you know, it was one of the very first things that you said last week that I fell in the trap of comparison. And when you said defining what kind of leader you want to be, you know, you have sidelines, you have team, you know, upline and downline that are equal to you at this part in the game. And, you know, you admire them both, or you admire across the board, and you start to compare, am I doing what she's doing? You know, do I need to do more like what she's doing with the momentum? You know, and that kind of thing. And then I kind of lost who I was. So those 3 questions that you said, you know, just come back to those 3 questions. Did I tell the truth? You know, did I live up to my commitments? And then did I do my best? And basically determine what leadership style do you want to be? And I mean, me personally, I want to lead by example. So what I do, I want my team to do, and then I want to be creative. I don't want to fall into the trap of doing what everybody else does. So.
You know, Jen, that's so courageous, and I appreciate you sharing that. And, you know, when we look and compare, like I can remember comparing. I mean, how many years ago was this? Back in the 80s, Jackie Simmons. I mean, I can like still see her face. She was a cross-line gal, and we were always neck and neck in every incentive, everything. Like Jackie Simmons, man, like I wanted to kick her ass, but I lovingly, of course. And we became very good friends. She wasn't in my downline, she was cross-line. And we just kind of we're always neck and neck. And here's what I've come to learn. When we're looking cross-line and, like you said, watching people jump into momentum, it's important to step back and realize why they're jumping into momentum. And it is usually that they talk to more people, so they're working with ambassadors who are actually developing points and creating an organization. It's nothing magical. They've just talked to more people so that they found someone who's going to create action. You know, we try to think, like, what is she saying? What is she doing? What's the magic thing? I'll tell you the magic thing. She's talking to more people, and she's developing more ambassadors, and she's creating more points. That's what it is, right? So not that we can't learn nuances or skills or whatnot from crossline, but bottom line is normally they've just been talking to more people faster. It usually is what it is. But I like the fact that you want to stay true to yourself. And when we look to compare, we want to compare in a real positive way. Like, look at the path she set for me, right? That's how I like to do it. Look at the beautiful path that she has set for me, you know. So you're on your way, Jen. It's just a beautiful thing. Yep. So many people get stuck comparing and allow it. Like, all these fears and limiting beliefs are self-imposed. And a lot of people can look and compare and go, well, look, Susie Q's going faster than me. Terry's going faster than me. Patty's going faster than me. And we can use it not as a reason to do those things we know we should be doing, but we could use it as just as an excuse to quit.
Right.
Like any other fear or limiting belief. Yeah. I like that people are kicking ass in my business, in my company, because it shows the potential. Like, if everybody was flat, how fun is that? I mean, and this is what a leader mindset is. Yeah. Really good, Jen. Really good, everybody. All right. So unless somebody has something really pressing they want to share, I'm going to go on to some skill set training. All right. Let's do that. So I've got a...
Hey, Leslie. I have
Yes,
one
hi,
quick
Jeannie.
question.
Yes.
Hey, how are you?
Good morning.
I had one quick question. I just wanted you to reiterate something you said, but I can't remember if it was on last week's call or in our training here, but it was so profound to me. When it was like the one little tagline you used when you talk about instead of going after the poor, the needy, you know what, I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, to go after those that are more already driven and successful.
Yeah,
saying it all wrong. That's why I'm asking you what your tagline was for that again.
Well, it wasn't really a tagline, although I know exactly what you're talking about. It was when I was there in person. And so
Yeah.
I set it up by saying, I explain why I tell my bankruptcy story. And I look at the audience and say, look, I don't enjoy telling you about going bankrupt, but I tell the story every time. I say, so I can say this very thing. And that's it's to set up so that I could say that one of the lessons I learned at that stage of my career was that when I started building a team, who I didn't go out looking for was every other adorable bankrupt woman I could find, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I don't tell them my bankrupt story, then in the audience, like, well, she's very insensitive. She must have never been broken. Like, how could she say that and make that, and I get all that energy and I can tell. So I tell them I'm bankrupt. I was bankrupt. And it's always very uncomfortable and embarrassing, but I do it so that I can make that point for their sake is that, look, don't go out there looking for the brokest, neediest, poorest. I don't know who combine charity and network marketing or charity and direct selling together, right? If you treat it like a charity before you build your business, you ain't going to have a very good charity, right? So you treat it like business first, and then you're going to be a much better philanthropist as you have created the secondary income, right? So the bada boom is, who are you looking for? People emotionally tend to sponsor down, what I call sponsor down. You're looking for people at a socioeconomic level equal to or less than you, right? Because we may not even be consciously thinking about this, but it makes us more comfortable. So I can go to people in my socioeconomic status or less and talk to them about the business. So my challenge to you as leaders is sponsor up. Learn to sponsor up. I want you to think about the coolest, sharpest, most successful connectors. These are the people who are going to recognize, a company on the move like Plexus, a company positioned to be just huge like Plexus. They're going to recognize that, right?
Okay. Thank you. That's been in my mind, and I had to ask it again because I've been trying to spit it back out, and it was not coming out of like it should. So thank you.
Yep, but you've got the point, and I think this is a trained skill that when we are talking to our new ambassadors, we want to talk to them about, look, let's start with the hippest, grooviest people that you know, right? Everyone's going to find us. Let's not look for the neediest first. They're going to find us, right? Let's look for those connectors, those successful people. I think that's important, and that's worthy of coaching, of sharing. And let's talk about who we're looking for. So thank you, Jamie. All right, so as we jump into the training today, I'm always going to try to give some seasonal. So if we were going to look at the seasonal training for today, all right, it's February 9th. We're in February. Just want to remind you as leaders, okay, one principle from a leadership standpoint is that we're always looking ahead. We're always looking 30, 60, 90 days ahead. That's, as leaders, is what we should do. So right now we're in first quarter, okay, so we got to be clear about what we're going to do here in first quarter, but we should also have our bead on what are we going to do April, May, June, right? What needs to be considered or put into place for second quarter. You're thinking, wow, it's only February. Why am I thinking there? Because that's what leaders do. You don't have to promote it to your team necessarily. You just must have a plan. I want you thinking. So let's talk about first quarter. What do we got going down with first quarter? We're in February. February is a short month. So what I like to do when we have a short month is make it shorter, right? And what do I mean about that? Okay, I would, if you haven't already, you might want to set a goal for your key players to meet their goals, meet their paid as title, point goal, sponsoring goal, whatever goals you're setting with them by the 20th of the month. Like just shorten the month, maybe by the 25th, right? Maybe by the 25th, and just shorten the month. February isn't the only short month. The same principle can go into practice in November and December, because those months are kind of shortened because of the holidays at the end of the month, right? So whenever I have a short month, I like to make it shorter. That allows me the opportunity to drive people into immediate action. So if you didn't do it this year, from now on, when you have a short month, like February 1, it should be, hey, short month, let's go, let's go, let's go. And you create activity and incentives and everything revolving around that first week of the month, right? Because they can't afford to fiddle fart around and come up to a short month and wake up on the 15th and go, hey, I'm going to make this happen. So as leaders, fiddle fart, Jen, is a professional term. Yes, ma'am. So, so it gives us an opportunity to drive volume early in the month, which we want to do every month. But a short month just gives us another reason to drive that. So we've got February as a short month. We want people in action. So be thinking, what do you have in place now in February to drive volume? Like, I don't know. Hopefully you were thinking about this in December, January, February, March, and perhaps next year you will. So what do you have in place now with regards to events or incentives or calls or whatever that's driving your ambassadors to take action now to talk to people about the products and the business? Okay, so we got a short month in February. And leading into March, which was always one of my first milestones. As I began the new year, I had two main milestones, okay? Remember, 16 years in the field. So first milestone of the year was March 31st. March 31st. What do I learn by March 31st? How did the team and I get off the dime? How did the team and I jump into the new year? How did the team and I work through first quarter? And then I would look at the key gauges. How have we done on sponsoring? And in your company, I would look at how have we done in business building sponsoring. Like, you guys have a little bit of denial going on. I sponsored 10 ambassadors. Well, only 3 of them want to build a business and 7 of them want to be wholesale buying consumers. So don't talk about those other 7. You sponsored 3, right? So, you want to be clear on how many business building ambassadors you sponsored. What kind of outreach have you done? Where are your points? What is your paid as title? These are the types of gauges. So March 31st is a point in time, a milestone that allows us to see what have we done first quarter and where do we got to go as we move into second quarter. What are we doing well? What are the areas that we want to improve? So if we want to have a good result by March 31st, it depends on what we do right now. February drives us so that we can have a strong March. Again, we can't wake up in the middle of March and go, hey, let's have a strong March, right? It's purposeful and it starts now, because you all know as leaders, the results we get as far as sponsoring and new sales are the reflection of what's taken place over the past 30, 60, 90 days. It's not just like Claire's going to wake up today and go, hey, I'm sponsoring someone today. Makes that first outreach and sponsors are in. It's a process. It's a process. And so that's what we want to be keen on. All right, so a little bit about seasonal, right? We got February, we got March, so we're going to set our goals for where we want to be March 31st. And then as leaders, depending on the size of your organization, you might want to be thinking about, okay, what do we want to do April, May, June? What do we want to put in place? Because what does second quarter do? Second quarter sets you up for the summer season. Second quarter dictates the type of momentum you have as you go into the summer season. And I love the summer season. There's a lot of benefits to the summer season. We will talk about that at another time. I just want you to start having an idea of how we work in quarters in this profession, first quarter, second quarter, and those important milestones, March 31st, the second big milestone, June 30th. June 30th, mid-year. June 30th, going into the summer season. June 30th lets me evaluate, okay, what were the goals I set for 2017? Where am I on track? Where am I falling behind? What am I doing well? Where can I improve? All that. Where do I need to make a course correction? All that's really important for that June 31st deadline. So just some seasonal strategies. But February, number one, February 9th, to me, main focus, the major focus between now and the end of the month, prospecting, period. because so many of your people, whether you know it or not, came out of the holidays, came out of January. Their funnels are not full. They haven't been talking to enough people, right? I just got off a leadership class with another company, and one of the leaders, was being very candid and honest about not being happy with what's going on. And you know how I am, like, I love everyone, but I owe it to you to tell my truth. That's what we're all here for. So I just said to her, look, the data doesn't lie, Annette. How many people have you sponsored in the last 3 months? She was quiet. And she said, not enough. I said, okay, I know what that answer means. 0. All right. Not enough means 0. And I said, are you having very much fun? She says, no. I said, so look, here's the point, man. If you've not sponsored anybody, so for your company, if you haven't sponsored a business building ambassador in the last 90 days, you're in denial. Like, you're in denial if you think you're building a business, period. So I got the text after that call, man, you sure smacked her with love. And I write back laughing, like, I don't really feel like I'm trying to smack. Oh, spank, not smack, spank. But her sponsor emailed me, texted me and said, man, you sure spanked Annette. And I write back saying, I don't feel like I'm spanking. I feel like I'm doing my job and just pointing out the reality. Annette needed to know, if you have not sponsored somebody in 90 days, don't wonder why it's not moving forward, right? And each and every one of you, it's the same thing. For each and every one of you, it's the same situation. The number one priority right now, prospecting and sponsoring. If you're not sponsoring business building ambassadors, you're in denial. That's not a spank. That's just reality, All right, so how do we make this happen? Let me move into some skill set. So I always coach on what I call like this 2-prong approach, right? This 2-prong approach. Prong number one, exactly what we're talking about. Your personal prospecting and sponsoring, right? Pay yourself first. As leaders, I forget which one of you today talked about how you get stuck managing. I think it was Claire, how we get stuck managing and working with our team, right? And no, it was the woman with the brunette hair. I can't remember her name. Anyway, she was talking about managing and why we manage and how we manage. And so that is going to slow you down more than anything else, like we talked about early in the call. So the 2-prong approaches: are you paying yourself first? Are you scheduling and committed to personal prospecting and filling your funnel? And if you have an accountability partner, that's what you two should be holding each other accountable for. That's why we call our accountability partner an accountability partner. We should kick each other's ass to move forward. If you're just calling and chatting and being girlfriends, we could do that on another call. But accountability partner should be, yo, Jamie, what did you do? Who did you talk to? Let's report. That's what it should be. Fun, still fun, but it's way more fun if we're reporting that we've been in action, right? And so 2-prong approach, pay yourself first, number one priority. For every leader on this call, number one priority. Second prong is who deserves your time. Learning how to work with the right people. We love everybody. We respect everybody, but not everybody deserves our time. Not everybody has earned your time. As leaders at this stage of your career, learning to work with those people who truly have their hand up. What are we going to do with people who are all talk and no action? Now, that doesn't mean we can't help point out, hey, look, Susie Q, is this still your why? Like a question I like to ask to people who are not in action, a good, fair, professional question is, Susie Q, are you satisfied with the pace of your business? That's a very fair question. Are you satisfied with the pace of your business? If she says yes, why am I stressing? Right? If she says yes, fine. Right? But if she says no, well, then we've got to give her homework. We got to give her an opportunity. We got to say, well, Susie Q, first take it back to her why. Susie Q, when we first started working together, you wanted to fill in the blank, leave that job, be home with the kids, pay off the debt, whatever the situation was. Always take it back to their why. Let's make sure, because again, my job as a sponsor is to help her meet her goals based on her why, right? So let's take it back to her why. Confirm or affirm that is still the why, and then say, okay, let's agree that the activities or the actions you've taken recently are not going to help us make that happen, right? Because we're going to fall back on the data. We're going to fall back on the data. And so that it's not personal, it's just the data. How many has she sponsored? How many new people has she talked to? When was the last time she did a 3-way call? Did she come to the event? Was she on the Zoom training call? Okay, so we just look at the data. That's why I love that question. How many of you sponsored? How many business builders is what I would ask with your company. How many business building ambassadors have you sponsored in the last 90 days? I mean, right there, that data, bam, that's it. That's it. Okay, so learning who deserves your time. You're going to find as leaders that the least active people are going to be the most talkative. The most communicative. They're going to want your time. I should say the least active are going to be the most needy. And you're going to want to learn to draw that line of still being professional, still having your hand out, but calling them professionally on, if you want to move forward, if we want to work together, these are the actions necessary to earn my time, right? Because you all as leaders can say, look, 2017 is a big year. I've got big plans, big goals for 2017, and I'm happy to work with you, but I work with the women who are prepared to take action and build a business. And then I always love to throw in, and we don't need 40 hours a week to be wildly successful. I don't want people to feel like they have to be full-time to earn my time. It's what they do in those part-time hours that earns my time and my effort. And I set that accountability in a really nice, loving way. It's not unlike with my private coaching clients. You know, a lot of people think that's what I do for a living. It's really the smallest part of my business. I only tap 6 at a time, right? And so I let them know before I ever even agree to work with them. If you aren't moving forward, I ain't your gal, right? If you're looking for a shrink, that's what your sponsor does. Go to your upline. If you want to move your business forward, if you will take action and move forward, you get my time. And I think that tone is important from a leadership standpoint when you're working with the people on your team. And I think a lot of emerging leaders, you're afraid. We're afraid to take that stance. Why? What's going on in your head? Well, she thought it was work, she wouldn't work, or, or I don't want to be mean, and, I don't want to come across like I'm not supportive or you guys know what's going on in your head. Right? And I love this one. Well, I don't want to scare her. Like, I don't want her to think there's actually work involved. Right? And then we wonder why these people don't take action. I'm not sponsoring someone to be my new best friend. Right? Okay. Now many times that happens. Okay. My friend Carol was a total stranger, a referral, and 4 years later sat at the wedding, the head table at my wedding. So I get the friendships, and we're still to this day great friends. She comes out every year and we party well together. So we've maintained the friendship. Okay, but that's not why we sponsor. Okay, we sponsor to help these women meet professional goals to make a difference in their lives. Okay, so learning who deserves your time. It's a process, but I want you to begin to think about this, right? All right. So that 2-pronged approach, personal prospecting and sponsoring, and learning who deserves your time, learning to work with the right people. Okay, that doesn't mean you can't always have your hand out, willing to coach, mentor, support, train, but they must be prepared to take action and work with you. Yeah? Okay, so, and going back to whoever said they love the phrase, I'm not looking to motivate people, I'm looking for motivated people. Yes, if you have all ever, at any time, sponsored a real player, sponsored some woman who jumped right in, started talking to people, if you've all experienced that, remember, that's who you're looking for. The thing is everybody like that? No. I mean, if the whole world were champions, it would spin differently now, wouldn't it? So not everybody's prepared to be a champion. A lot of people are just going to get all caught up in the enthusiasm of your company and the stories and how nice you all are and how great your products are, and they're just going to want to hang with you guys. It doesn't necessarily mean they want to build. They just want to hang with, fun, excited, motivated people. And then there's some people who, when they join you, we see their potential. They're just not prepared to leap yet for a variety of reasons. Life's distractions, lack of belief, fears. And so by supporting them along the way. I totally get that. But the best way to support them is to continue to challenge them to act and not condone inaction. You guys see the difference? That's what's so important. All right, two-pronged approach. Something else I want to talk about today, and that's what I call the power of pace. Now, for those, when I came out and spoke to and whatnot, or if you've read anything or seen anything or taken any of my other online courses, I'm all about pace. I'm always talking, no matter the company, product or service, we're talking about the power of pace, how you can go faster in building your business, and how to help the people that you sponsor, those new ambassadors, go faster. So the power of pace. As you set your goals, just something to consider here. As you set your goals, more than simply sponsoring goals. Like, it's one thing to say, I'm going to sponsor X amount of business building ambassadors in the next 30 days or in the next 90 days. Okay. I want you to have sponsoring goals. But if it were me, more than sponsoring goals, or I should say in addition to sponsoring goals, I would have a goal of how many new silver I'm going to create in the next 30, 60, 90 days. Of the business building ambassadors that I sponsor, how many do I get to silver and in what time frame? Right? Because they can get to silver at any time. Is that correct? But I would want them getting to silver, by the end of their first full month? So let's say I sponsor someone today, February 9th. I could try to get her to silver in February, at the very latest, end of March. Would that make sense? So what if I had a goal of end of March or sooner? Right? By the end of their first full month or sooner. What if that was my goal with every business building ambassador that I sponsored? Okay, so for all of you, I would have you look at the data of the last, maybe you look at 2016. How many did you sponsor? See, I don't know. Let me see. How could we do this? I guess you could do how many that you sponsored. How would you decide who were business builders? You have a position right before silver, don't you? Like senior ambassador? Okay, so that would be an indicator of someone who perhaps was going to build a business. Somebody nod, yeah? Okay, so maybe you look at the data and you look at everyone that you sponsored, and then of that, how many at least got to senior ambassador? So let's say 100 did. Let's say 100 got to senior ambassador, just to make it an easy conversation. So that means 100 people were looking at the business. Of those people, how many did you get to silver? It's going to be pathetic. Just know right now it's going to be pathetic. My point is, it doesn't have to be. Like, if we just looked at 2017 and we moved that gauge, if you as leaders just moved that gauge, if more ambassadors, okay, when I talk about ambassadors from now on, let's just agree that I'm talking about business building ambassadors and not wholesale buying ambassadors, okay? If more ambassadors, if you got more ambassadors to silver faster, do you see how the odds of retention, growth, points is all expanded because of just that one gauge? So if you're agreeing with this, then I would have you look at your goal setting, and I would shift and make a shift in the goal setting. I would just have my goals be about number of new business building ambassadors. It would be how many people, how many new ambassadors am I getting to silver by the end of the first full month or sooner? And maybe you look at that quarterly. I don't know. I'm not looking for 10. You decide what would be a reasonable 90-day goal for that. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 1 is probably even more than most of you have done recently, right? Okay. So is it 1, 2, 3 a quarter? I don't know. You decide the pace you want to go. But if you want to see the development of points to drive you to that next title, right? So if you're Ruby wanting to go to Emerald, Emerald wanting to go to Sapphire, Sapphire wanting to go to Diamond, what makes that happen? Points. What creates points? Excited ambassadors who are talking to people, get new customers, get new ambassadors, and building. You cannot, well, you can, but I don't recommend it. You cannot start managing and think you're going to beat these women into submission. You know, that the people that you have, that you're just going to beat them into doing what you need, right? They're never going to do anything because of what you need. Well, I need more points because I'm going to Sapphire. Well, they don't care. You think they care, right? You think they care, and they do at some level. But when it comes down to doing something they don't want to do and your goal, I'm telling you right now, they don't care. And they're not going to care. And that's a hard lesson for all of us to learn. I remember the first time I learned that they really don't love me, right? That they just need me. I remember that. I do remember getting that lesson and thinking, wow, that's kind of fascinating. Okay, but it's a maturing lesson. It's a maturing lesson. They need us more than really love us. And that's a good thing to just keep in mind. It's a good thing to keep in mind. So anyways, let's get back to this whole silver thing. So if you get more people to silver by the end of the first full month or sooner, seems like a reasonable time frame, okay? And then what about Fast Start Gold? Like, when was the last time you developed someone on the Fast Start Gold program? Did anyone even do one in 2016? Okay, Jamie, how many? 1, 2, 3? You remember? 1, 2, 3 for last year?
I think I had 2 or 3.
Okay, so 2 or 3. Jen, did you get any Fast Start Gold last year? Nope. Claire? Nope. Stace? Okay. And so, which is cool. I'm not trying to call anybody out on this. Okay. Let's just talk as leaders. Why is that? Okay. When you have this good program, right, and that people are qualifying for Fast Start Gold, why aren't more people? See, I think about this. No matter the company, every company has a Fast Start program. So I think about this a lot. And here's my belief. We can develop, you can, Jen, you can develop more Fast Start Gold. You all can develop more Fast Start Gold this year. First of all, we got to make it a goal. Second of all, as you get more proficient at talking about the benefits for getting off to a fast start, which we're going to talk about next, the benefits for getting off to a fast start, when you hold up that first goal, not a senior ambassador, oh, don't worry about it. You don't have to worry. We're just going to fit this in. We'll just go slow. We'll just go at your pace. I want you to feel good. I want you to feel comfortable. Okay, so when you shift that attitude to a posture of a leader based on their why, hey, Susie Q, you want to get out of that job? Hey, you want to pay off the debt? Hey, you want to be home with the kids? I got a plan in place. I got a plan that we can do. We don't need 40 hours a week. It's what we do in the hours that we have. Goal number 1, we're going to go Fast Start Silver. Okay, and then you know what that means was that your first 3 ambassadors that do certain qualifications, right? I haven't memorized every nuance of your pay plan yet, but Fast Start Silver by the end of their first full month or sooner. Hey, what if you can do it in your enrollment month? People have done it in their enrollment month, so we don't have to take as absolutely long as possible, right? But let's just say by their first full month or sooner, and then talk to them about, and you know what, as we move in that direction, and once you see someone moving, then you start talking about Fast Start Goal. See, shoot, Suzuki, you got this silver down, so let's start moving towards the Fast Start Goal. People aren't talking about it, which is why people aren't doing it. I think that's a big reason why. And why aren't they talking about it? Because they didn't do it. Well, I didn't earn it, so they don't believe it. I can't tell you in how many Plexus events during the breaks, someone comes walking, and I know when they're going to talk about, because I could read their face, right? They come walking down after the skill set segment and come up to me and go, my sponsor never even told me about the Fast Start Goal, or never even told me about silver. I've heard that a lot. And they're mad. Not really mad. They're disappointed because they're thinking, shit, if she would have told me about this, I might have gone after it. But they're not being told about it because the sponsor, through lack of experience, lack of belief, lack of having qualified herself, coming from fear or scarcity or whatever, they're not talking about it. They're not holding people up. They're playing small for the people that they sponsor. It's not our job to play small for the people that we sponsor. On the contrary, our job is to hold everyone up who says they want to build a business. They just want to be wholesale buying consumer, right on. Okay, that's not your goal then. But if you're saying, I want to build a business, I want to get out of that job, pay off the debt, be home with the kids, right on. I got a proven plan. First goal, we're going to get you to silver as quickly as possible. as I see her in action, doing 3-way calls, working the system, opening a list for me, as I see her taking action and I'm thinking, man, I got a player here, then I'm going to hold her like, see, we're going to smoke silver. Let's get after Fast Start Gold. And you will have more people. It's because it's promoted. And then I would even use 3-way call. So let's say I sponsor Susie Q. I hold her up for silver. She's in action. I see that she's going to qualify silver. Let's say Stacy's my sponsor. What am I going to do? I'm going to bring Stacy in as a 3-way call. Stacy, man, Susie Q is smoking it, man. We're driving towards silver. Stacy's going to say, hey, I'm looking at the reports. I see you're driving towards silver. So you know what? Let's just smoke by. Let's just blow by silver. Let's go faster. And let's lay out a game plan of how that could happen. So now we've got the sponsor and me reinforcing this. And she's like, wow. And then Stacy's going to say things like, I see your potential, Susie Q. I see how you're going to blow by silver. You absolutely can do Fast Start Goal. Let's just make the plan, see what happens, and go for it. Right? So now I got my sponsor even reinforcing that. See, these are just some strategies that if you want more people to go faster, we have to at least be holding it up as a goal for them. Now, even when we're proficient at talking about going fast, is everybody going to go fast? No, of course not. I know that. You know that. But here's what I'm absolutely convinced. More people will go fast when we share the benefits of PACE, when we set it for the goal, when we hold that bar high, we help them take action, and then it's up to them to decide whether they're a champion or not. It's not up to me to decide, up to them to decide. Does this make sense? Yeah, this is good shit. This can completely, thanks, Jamie, this can completely shift the pace and the number of new true business builders that you develop, which again drives the points, drives your title, drives your income. Okay, so I've mentioned a couple times the benefits of PACE. And so let's just quickly talk about, there are some tangible benefits for getting off to a fast start, okay? And you learn to share those. So again, if I was sponsoring Susie Q, when I'm even talking to her initially about getting to the silver position and by the end of March or sooner, and I would constantly be saying, we don't have to wait till March, like we could do it this month if we take action. Like I'm constantly always driving urgency, all right? Always driving urgency. But I would share the benefits. Why are we even talking about PACE, Susie Q? Well, you're gonna find it's way more fun. You're going to find it's way more fun. People are going to be excited to hear about this. Not everyone's going to be interested in the beginning. Not everyone's going to be interested in the beginning, but you're going to have fun. We're going to have fun talking to people. So it's way more fun to go fast. Okay, what's another obvious benefit is you earn back your initial investment, which is not a big deal with your company because your initial investment is so small, right? $230 or something like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. Like dinner for 4. Right? An average wine. I mean, it's not even good wine. Right? I mean, you have such a nominal, affordable, you should get zero pushback on your getting started. And if it were me, I would be going after that 233 kit because of all the benefits for that. But that's just me. So they can earn back that initial investment, which is for their psyche. It's really good. What's another benefit? Builds their confidence. They start getting excited. They start to believe. They lead by example. That's another benefit of PACE, right? So all these things make a lot of sense. It's more fun. They can earn back their kid, builds their confidence. They lead by example. All these are real benefits. What I believe, and we talked about this when I was there recently, the most important, I think the key benefit for getting off to a fast start is the story they create. And so what I used to say when I would sponsor someone, I said, look, Susie Q, you may or may not get this right now, but when we help you get off to a fast start, as you create this story of success, right? And it doesn't have to be that you're diamond in 30 days, but as we create the story of getting your first preferred customers, getting your first ambassadors, starting to build your team, earning back your kid, as we create the story, that story is going to do more. That story is going to do more to attract people to take a look at your Plexus business than anything else, right? And which it does. You know, I say in front of the room as kind of a joke. I mean, we really have 2 stories that we could possibly create. One story is, hey, man, I've been doing this for 60 days and I haven't made a dime. All right? That's not a great recruiting story. in my world, right? The other story is, wow, I've been doing this for 60 days. I'm working with my friend Jamie. We're having a lot of fun. I've got my first customers. I got my first team members. I mean, this is so much fun. You should take a look at this. That's a better story. That's a better story. So I believe that's the most impactful reason why I want to help them get off to a fast start. So they have that story, which is going to help them attract, which is going to help them sponsor, which increases the odds of retention and stability. So, benefits of PACE. The lesson here from a leadership standpoint, as you sponsor new people, see, I think this is a conversation that we have in what I call the qualifying conversation before we ever even sponsor her. Right? I would be starting to say things like, you know, Susie Q, if you decide the timing's right and this is a fit, our game plan is all going to be around going fast. We don't need 40 hours a week to go fast, right? I'm going to show you exactly what to do in those very precious part-time hours. Yeah, Jane.
I don't want to mess up your flow, but this is a question that I have that I see as a, not to be Debbie Downer, because that's never my intention. But I see a lot of times when I bring on people and we do go fast start gold or senior gold, right? What happens is sometimes they get such in this pace of quickness that they expect it to go be like that, especially if they've never done network marketing before. Right. As much as you tell them, okay, you realize it's gonna slow down a little bit eventually. You know, you're not gonna be signing 20 people normally every single month ongoing. Right. And of those 20, you're probably going to get 2, hopefully, rock stars out of it that will truly work the business. So as much as I tell them this and try to prepare them for that, I always feel this little lull that comes in, and they feel like then they're failing, even though it's been such a quick success. So I just want to approach the realness of it, and how would you counteract that? Do you have any tips on that?
I do. So first of all, you're exactly right.
Unless I'm getting ahead of myself. I'm sorry if I am. But
yeah, no, it's perfect. So telling them, it makes perfect sense, like you're doing, preparing them. Perfect opportunity for a 3-way call to reinforce. But why do they slow down? Let's think about this. If we could pull the data, I'm telling you why they slow down, because they stop sponsoring. They stop sponsoring in most cases, and they start managing, right? They get off that fast start. Yeah, when I'm brand new and I got my whole sphere of influence, it's easier for me to sponsor 20 people, right? It's not as easy the longer I go. We all understand that. Now I got to be more creative in reaching out and talking to people and whatnot. All right, so I get that. So I can just point out to them that very point. Look, we got into your sphere of influence. You brought in all these people. We're not sponsoring at the same pace. So don't doubt. Don't wonder what you're doing wrong. And then I take them right back to a list. Okay, give me your top 10. Who are the top 10 people we're going to talk to? And I just keep them in action. It all comes down to the data. It all comes down to the data. So they may have a lull and start doubting. I'm like, what are you doubting yourself for? There's no reason to doubt yourself. We've proven that you can sponsor. We've proven that you can develop silvers. We've proven that you can do this. Let's look at the data. Get your ego out of the way here, and let's look at the data and see that you just haven't been sponsoring at the same pace, right? And I agree with you. It's not going to go up, 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 up until the organization is in momentum. We're not in momentum. We've only begun the journey, right? So these are just things through candid communication that we could keep them. And sometimes people have a fear of success, Jamie, and they get to a certain point and it's like, yeah. You know, and that's part of it sometimes for people who get off to a fast start and then stop. Right? They're going to say a bunch of reasons why they've stopped, but truly not everyone feels the self-worth and the self-deserve. Fear of success, I don't have it, but I have seen it in action, and I recognize it for what it is, and it's real. And until we can help them feel the deserve, until they can help themselves through personal development feel the deserve and feel the self-worth, they may just paralyze themselves. But in many cases, like you're talking about, they don't understand direct selling, they don't understand exponential growth, and they don't understand what's going on. And they think that those first ambassadors that they sponsored should now be kicking ass and building their team for them. And we need to point out that's not how we look at this. That slows down more leaders, really. It's like, okay, team, go. Or you hear them say, I just have to replace my whole team. Like they're just not working it. Okay. Well, what kind of attitude is that? Right? And then I like to say, how many of you sponsored in the last 90 days? Right? It's always about leading by example. And when you stop and when you think you're going to beat these people into doing what you need them to do, it makes everything go wonky. You don't lead as authentically. They're not feeling the love as authentically. It's just shifts the whole thing. So there's a lot to that, Jamie, but usually it's that they've stopped talking to new people and they've stopped sponsoring. They just don't get it. Or you'll hear from a leader, well, I don't know what's going on, man. I've lost my karma. Like, I've lost my juju. I used to be so good. And what am I saying wrong? And what am I doing wrong? And I must be doing something wrong because the numbers aren't there anymore. You hear that a lot. And when you could just take it right to the data. How many new people have you talked to? In so many cases, they think they are talking to new people and they are not talking to enough new people. They're in denial, and it's real. Okay, I wrote a post a few weeks ago on this very topic. They're going back to the same 2, 3, 4, 5 people that have been telling them no, and they're in denial. So I tell them, look, before you go wild, there's no reason to doubt yourself. You know how to sponsor. You know how to develop silvers and beyond. You've done it. Okay, you just aren't talking to enough new people, and that's where it is. So I tell them, you track for the next week how many new people, not that you text, not that you message, right, that you actually get to talk to about the business. And then they're like, whoa, you're right. You know, and I don't need to be right, but we want to help them understand what's going on. Don't start stressing out over the wrong thing. Right? And they do that. And isn't that fascinating? They would sit there and start knocking themselves. I'm doing something wrong. I'm not good at this anymore. I've lost something. There's something I'm not saying or doing. That's more comfortable than the reality that they just aren't out there talking to enough new people. It's just fascinating. All right, Aubrey's asking me something. So when you say you're going, are you reading this, Days? Or can I push on this? Here. So when you say you're going to tell them exactly what to do to be successful, your key directives, talk to new people and get those new people on three-way calls. Yes, Aubrey. So when it's about getting them into action, right? When they've stopped talking to new people, I like to make it really simple for them. This is just me. It doesn't have to be you. I like to say, look, let's just start with a strategic list of 10. I want a strategic list of 10. And then I tell them of the coolest, sharpest, hippest, grooviest, like connectors, successful people, fun people, right? And then I challenge them hours, three-way calls, right? If they're not doing three-way calls with me, how can I help them? Right? So hours of operation, they must schedule some time, three-way calls. Again, the faster they can get me on the phone with 10 three-way calls, the faster I can get them up and running. Because I know what to say. And every one of you are like that. Does that answer your question, Aubrey?
Yes, absolutely. It's
Okay.
kind of not quiet here, so I just.
Hi, Aubrey. Nice to see you. All right, good question. All right, so
we push back on the three-way calls. How do you overcome that?
Okay, excellent question. So first of all, for three-way calling to duplicate, you must make sure that you do the three-way call during the prospecting process. So many people don't, right? I mean, I do when, ooh, hold on a second. Give me 1 second. I got to get out the door. Just come on up, Charlotte. I'm on a coaching call and I can't come down and get you. So either the gal at the front can let you up and I'll go quickly run in. Okay. I can't come down. I'm sorry. Okay. Bye. Good luck. Okay. My decorator's here and she's stuck in the garage. But you know what? She's early. Timing is everything. Oh my gosh, our call's almost done here. Three-way calls. So often people don't do the three-way call during the prospecting process. So I want you to really realize if you don't do a three-way call during the prospecting process, you are purposefully robbing them of experiencing the system. You're doing it on purpose. You're doing it on purpose. And then you wonder why they resist doing three-way calls. So again, here's the training conversation, okay? The training conversation is, well, I know I didn't do this with you. Give me 1 second. The training conversation is, well, I know I didn't do this with you, right? I know I didn't do this with you, but now let me tell you the number one way I can help you go fast. That is never as effective as, hey, remember that phone call I did with Jamie and you heard her story? Well, that's one of the ways we do this business. In fact, it's the number one way I can help you go fast. Right? I mean, don't rub. When I do advanced leadership, when I do my private coaching, when it's the call where I want to really drill down into their genealogy, and boy, they're telling me about, man, I'm so good at three-way calls and I can close for my team and I'm doing so good. So I ask the question, who are you doing three-way calls with? Silence. I know what's going on. That's why I ask the question. You know, I haven't built a downline. How long, right? I could close somebody today without a three-way call. Right? In Spanish, I bet you. On my head, probably. Doing a headstand in yoga. I mean, I feel that confident. But is that the best? Is that the best thing for my prospect? No. So we got to get our ego out of the way and be thinking that we're always system first, right? Everything you do when you introduce your new prospect, she will do. Now, again, you can do these three-way calls and people may still hesitate, just like we may hold people up for fast start, silver, and gold, and they may not take action. I mean, again, what you're doing is your best to set an example of the system so when you do get that motivated player, you increase the odds that we're going to get her off to a faster start. That's the bottom line. Does that answer, Jamie? Yep. All right. So we're out of time. And, right, we started at 8:30. Did we start at 8:30?
Yes.
Okay. So this is what we're going to do. We're going to come back next week, and I'm going to finish this up because it's also important, and I can't say it in 3 minutes. All right. When we come back next week, we're going to talk about what stops pace, and we're going to drill into your genealogy. I want to start helping you or reinforce what you already know, helping you start to understand how is your downline growing? Like, where are these points coming from? Where should your focus be? How does this work, right? And take it from there. So let's stop for a moment. In the last, we got 3 minutes left. Let's have some takeaways because it's so important to this process for you to save acts, a new concept or something you've learned or something you've heard or something you want me to drill down more on. So let's open it up like we did in the beginning. How about some takeaways from something you heard today?
Leslie, I just want to share really quick that
Hi.
I love that you said that we're robbing our prospects of the system and teaching them that, because I've had many calls lately, and even though I feel like I can take care and handle the call, you know, because whether we have a personal relationship or whatever, that it's better for them to have that third party validation and to teach them the system. I've never looked at it that way, so thank you for that.
Isn't it eye-opening? And it's not just you, Elizabeth, in your automobile office there, looking quite pretty there, and you're in your car there. Well done. And so, yes, you do. You rob them of that. You rob them of that. So it's a great lesson to learn now and to teach to your team. And if you have people that you've sponsored already who you didn't do the three-way call, let's do the three-way call now and start really reinforcing that. Yep. Excellent. It's powerful. These are just the nuances of leadership that shift things. Anybody else? A takeaway?
One of mine is it's also a question too, but how to determine who is worthy of your time, who deserves your time, that you always want to love on them, but you can't give them all your time. You have to determine, you know, what have they done? What's their action that they've gotten there? Can I ask a question to go with this?
Sure.
Right now I have scheduled weekly coaching calls with my working level ones. And I want to know though, when you kind of cut them off, and you cut the cord when they're not doing the action that they say they're going to do. You know, you see that they're making attempts, but they're not producing. They're not signing up people. There's not growth.
Okay, so if you're going to agree to do a weekly call with someone, right, you set the accountability. You set what it's going to take to get your calls. Now, obviously, in your first 30 days, working with the new ambassador, I'm all over it in the first 30 days, right? I'm working with her in the first 30 days because she deserves at least 30 days for me to see if she's up and running. If you have weekly calls with established people, before you agree, see, here's just my thinking. And Stace, I'm not saying I'm right. I'm just saying something to consider. I never did weekly calls to motivate people to take action. To me, a weekly call with me is earned because you're in action, right? So it's just a different way to think about it. A lot of people do weekly calls. Jamie liked that one. So a lot of people do weekly calls thinking they're going to get non-active people motivated. Well, no, my time's valuable, right? So first of all, it's who you're doing the weekly calls with. And if you set the accountability as you start, we will continue to have a weekly call if this, and this happens. And if it doesn't, we won't have the calls. That makes it easy for you to say, well, these were my parameters. X amount of 3-way calls, working a list, hours, whatever. And if she's not doing that, then it's not being mean, it's just being professional. Hey, look, we agreed that this is what it would take to get a weekly call with me. We're not at this level. How can I help? And then don't be afraid to cut them off. I have a private client who has weekly, what I always called A-team calls with her key people. And this one gal, one of her top leaders, it would be like seeing a direct diamond. Okay, one of her direct diamonds just stopped sponsoring. And it was 90 days. And so my client asked me, what do you think I should do with her? She hasn't sponsored. I said, okay, you're asking me, and I'm saying I wouldn't do the weekly call and tell her I'm not doing the weekly call because how can I help you? If you're not sponsoring, if you're choosing to manage and go backwards, why should we sit and talk about that every week? I mean, what's the conversation going to be? You're still not doing what's necessary to move forward, right? So why are we going to talk about that? So she was very uncomfortable. I said, lady, it's your call. I mean, it's your business. You asked my opinion. This is, what I recommend and how I would say it. And she decided to do it. And she called me that day, like off coaching call, just to say real quick, I did it and it was so uncomfortable, but you know what? She says, I'm free. Now, her gal did not get back in action until about 3 weeks. And then she got the phone call, oh my gosh, I missed her calls or whatever. Okay, I'm willing to do whatever. And now she's back on track. So sometimes we have to make those candid, tough decisions for everybody's sake because it's a business. How about that?
That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. Your time is valuable, Stacy. Remember that.
Yes.
They earn your time. Yeah.
I personally like to, we're just talking about setting your goals, tracking where you want to go. Because I think as you get further along in this, sometimes that can kind of get lost in the shuffle. So I personally have written a goal for my reentry position. I'm going to go gold by March 2017. Might have to push it back, but that's my goal.
But see, this is great leadership here. Clarity, written goals. I do it every day. I mean, this is just part of business. Yeah.
Yes. So I'm glad that's good. I mean, I know it, I have it in my head, but writing it out, I always tell all my team this, and I haven't done this yet before my reentry, and I just did it. And now I'm going to put it where I can look at it every single day, several times a day.
And declare it to your upline unless she's on this call, which means you just did. Okay, then I would.
But yes, I'm going to
declare it to your upline. Mm-hmm. That's powerful. All right, ladies. I hope this was another good class. And again, you have a Facebook page. I would definitely go there and post your top 3 takeaways. We come back together Wednesday, February 15th. That's going to be our 3rd call. Wait a second. Is that right? Yes.
The week after next, isn't it? Or no, we have one next week.
February 15th. Wednesday, February 15th at 8:30 my time, 10:30 Central, 11:30 Eastern, okay? And we're going to finish PACE. We're going to finish PACE, and we're going to start talking about genealogy and how we really drill down and see where these points are coming from and see what we can do to drive points. like purposefully drive growth. And that's going to be a couple of conversations. Genealogy takes a couple of calls. All right. I appreciate everybody's input. This is a great class, and I'm happy you're happy. So Stacy, thanks again for running the controls. Jamie, always a pleasure. Everybody, always a pleasure. Have a super week. Put what you learned into action. Challenge each other to take something that you heard today and put it into immediate action. Take a lot of things you heard today and put it into immediate action. That would be good. All right, my friends, you take care. I appreciate it. See you next week.
Thank you.
Great job.